The apartment was silent until Emma Carter's scream tore through the walls, her voice jagged with fear. She clutched little Lily close, the child's small frame trembling against her chest. Daniel Carter's face was twisted with rage, eyes blazing as if betrayal itself had taken form. Emma said, "You can't keep breaking us, Daniel, not anymore." He didn't answer. Instead, the slam of the front door exploded like thunder, rattling picture frames on the wall. Lily buried her face in Emma's shoulder, her sobs muffled but sharp enough to cut through Emma's heart. Outside, faint sirens rose and fell, their wails mixing with Emma's ragged breath. In that moment, Emma's world fractured beyond repair. The safe illusion she had built now shattered. Her pulse hammered, thoughts spun wild, and every instinct screamed at her to protect Lily at all costs. Tonight was not just another fight. It was the moment everything changed forever. The silence after Daniel's departure felt heavier than the argument itself. Emma rocked Lily gently, whispering words she barely believed. Emma said, "It's all right, baby, I've got you." Lily whimpered, her breath hitching as she clung tighter. The cracked photo on the floor caught Emma's gaze, a cruel reminder of the family she once imagined. Her body trembled, but she forced herself to stay steady for Lily's sake. The sirens outside faded, leaving only the sound of Lily's muffled sobs. Emma's mind spun, replaying every decision, every sacrifice that led to this night. She thought of the long hours at work, the sleepless nights, the constant fight to prove she was enough. Tonight proved how fragile it all was. Yet, even in her fear, she vowed silently. No matter how broken she felt, Lily would never face this pain alone. Emma tucked Lily into bed, brushing curls from her damp cheeks. Lily's eyes glistened, searching her mother's face for answers. Lily said, "Is he coming back, Mommy?" Emma's throat tightened, but she forced a calm tone. "We'll be safe, my love. That's what matters." She kissed Lily's forehead, letting her linger in the comfort of the lie. The room was dark, except for the nightlight casting gentle stars across the wall. Emma sat by the bed, watching her daughter's breaths slow into restless sleep. Her mind, however, was relentless. Images of Daniel's face, twisted with fury, replayed again and again. She longed for strength, yet fear gnawed at her resolve. She whispered to the stillness, a vow she wished could reach deeper than words. "I'll never let him hurt you again." Alone in the kitchen, Emma gripped the counter, her knuckles white against cold tile. Her reflection stared back at her from the window, eyes swollen from tears. She whispered, "How much more can I take?" The apartment was still, but silence screamed louder than words. Bills sat stacked on the table, unopened reminders of the battles yet to come. Emma poured a glass of water, though her hands trembled so violently she nearly dropped it. Memories of Daniel's betrayal surged, the lies, the shouting, the promises shattered. She wanted to scream again but swallowed it, holding herself upright. Tonight marked the beginning of a fight she could no longer avoid. For Lily, she had no choice but to become stronger than the fear consuming her. Emma sank into the couch, exhaustion pressing down heavier than sleep. The apartment felt foreign, as though the walls themselves remembered every argument. She pulled a blanket tight around her shoulders, though no warmth reached her chest. A family photo with cracked glass rested on the coffee table, its smiling faces mocking her pain. She whispered, "Tomorrow will be different," though her heart argued otherwise. Shadows stretched long across the floor as the streetlight outside flickered, casting restless patterns on the walls. Lily stirred faintly in the other room, and Emma's body tensed at the sound. She whispered into the darkness, "I'll fight for us, even if it destroys me." The promise was fragile, but it was all she had left. The alarm blared before dawn, pulling Emma from shallow sleep. She rubbed her tired eyes, forcing her body up, while Lily still slept peacefully in the next room. Emma whispered, "Another day, another fight." She prepared breakfast with robotic precision, her hands steady, though her heart weighed heavy. The kitchen light flickered, reminding her of repairs she couldn't afford. Lily patted in, rubbing her eyes, and Emma crouched low to kiss her head. "Eat up, sweetheart, big day. Her voice masked the exhaustion beneath. She smiled, but inside, fear churned over bills waiting on the counter, and the looming storm of Daniel's threats. She told herself silently, she couldn't let weakness show. The morning ritual was armor, and today she needed every bit of it. Emma dropped Lily off at school, plastering on a smile as the child ran toward the doors with her backpack bouncing. Lily turned back, waving with pure trust that stabbed Emma's chest. Emma waved back, whispering, "Be brave, my love." The parking lot buzzed with parents, but Emma felt utterly alone. She sat in the car for a moment longer, gripping the steering wheel, as her smile dissolved. Memories of Daniel's threats haunted her, filling the silence with echoes of arguments. She wanted to break down, but instead she started the engine, whispering, "You have to hold it together." The day had only begun, and already she felt her strength slipping. Still, for Lily's sake, she forced herself forward. At work, Emma forced a polite smile as she entered the office, clutching files tighter than necessary. The hum of chatter and clacking keyboards surrounded her, yet she felt the weight of every eye. Her boss barely looked up, muttering, "You're late again, Emma." Her heart dropped, though she nodded silently, hiding the chaos that had consumed her night. She settled at her desk, typing with mechanical rhythm, but her mind replayed Lily's sad eyes and Daniel's cruel smirk. Her phone buzzed with an unknown number, and dread pooled in her stomach. She didn't answer, terrified it was another lawyer's notice. The office felt colder than ever. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the world demanding she perform while she unraveled inside. During lunch, Sarah Miller appeared at Emma's side, sliding into the chair across from her with a knowing look. Sarah, Emma's lifelong friend, leaned close and whispered, "You look like hell, talk to me." Emma forced a smile, shaking her head. "I can't keep doing this, Sarah." Sarah reached across, taking her hand firmly. "You're stronger than you know. Don't let him break you." Emma's chest tightened at the words, the weight of unspoken fears pressing harder. The cafeteria noise faded, as Emma finally whispered, "I'm scared of losing her." Sarah's eyes softened, brimming with loyalty. "Then fight like hell. You're not alone." For the first time that day, Emma felt the faintest flicker of hope. That night, Emma tucked Lily into bed, her hands brushing curls as she whispered, "Sweet dreams, my love." Lily smiled faintly, unaware of the storm looming outside their walls. Emma lingered, watching her daughter's breathing slow, drawing strength from the innocence she was sworn to protect. Later, in the living room, Emma sat in the dark, phone clutched in hand, unread messages glaring back. Daniel's threats loomed like shadows in her mind, but so did Sarah's words. She whispered to herself, "I won't let him take her." The cracked family photo still rested on the table, but Emma no longer saw defeat in it. Instead, she saw resolve. Tonight, fragile as it was, her fight had truly begun. Emma met Sarah for coffee after work, craving comfort. Sarah's hands fidgeted as Emma spoke about Daniel's threats. Then Sarah blurted, "I didn't tell you something, Em? Daniel called me weeks ago." Emma's heart froze. She whispered, "What?" Sarah's eyes welled with regret. "He asked about you, and I told him more than I should." The words crashed into Emma like thunder. Betrayal cut deeper than she imagined. She felt the air thicken, every sound fading but her pounding heart. Emma forced herself to breathe, whispering, "You were supposed to be on my side." Sarah reached for her hand, trembling. "I am, but I made a mistake." Emma pulled back, shaken. Even trust had become fragile, and Emma realized she was running out of safe ground. That evening, Emma sat at the kitchen table, papers spread before her. Custody notices, bills, and unanswered letters filled every inch. Her phone buzzed again with Daniel's name flashing. She stared at it, unable to breathe. When it stopped, relief mixed with dread. Lily entered, clutching a drawing of their family. "Look, Mommy, it's us." Emma forced a smile, saying, "It's beautiful." But the drawing included Daniel, smiling, and Emma's chest ached. Lily said, "He said, He'll come for me. The words sliced through her, though she kept her voice calm. You're safe here, baby. When Lily skipped away, Emma buried her face in her hands, silent tears breaking through. Daniel's shadow was everywhere, poisoning even Lily's innocence. At work the next day, Emma was called into her boss's office. He closed the door, folding his arms. Your attendance and focus are slipping, Emma. This can't continue. Emma clenched her jaw, whispering, I'm doing my best. He sighed coldly. If this keeps up, we'll have to let you go. The words crushed her. Losing this job meant losing stability, losing the only safety net she had for Lily. She nodded, voice cracking, I understand. Walking back to her desk, her coworkers' chatter blurred. She felt the walls close in, every step heavier. Fear turned into anger. Why was the world punishing her for holding everything together? She gripped her desk hard, vowing silently she wouldn't let them win. The knock at Emma's door that night carried an official weight. She opened it to see a woman in a dark blazer holding a clipboard. Carter? I'm from Child Protective Services. We need to discuss your case. Emma's blood ran cold. The authority figure's eyes scanned the apartment, lingering on the cracked photo, the stack of bills. Emma forced a steady voice. My daughter is safe here. The woman's tone was measured, professional. We need to ensure Lily's environment is stable. Emma's hands shook, but she stood tall. Lily peeked from behind the doorframe, clutching her stuffed toy. Emma gently guided her back, whispering, It's all right, sweetie. Oh. Inside, fear roared, but she knew this was another battle she had to fight. Later that night, Emma sat in Lily's room, watching her daughter sleep. Her chest felt heavy, but she whispered into the darkness, I will not let them take you. The cracked edges of fear pressed deep, but beneath it burned a new resolve. She thought of Sarah's betrayal, Daniel's threats, the cold warnings at work, and now the system knocking on her door. Every corner of her life was collapsing, yet she knew surrender would destroy them both. She pressed a kiss to Lily's forehead, whispering, You are my strength. The house was silent, but Emma's heart thundered with a fragile fire. Alone, with nothing left certain, she clung to one truth. For Lily, she would fight until there was nothing left of her. The morning began with rain hammering the windows, gray light seeping into every corner of the apartment. Emma sat at the table surrounded by overdue bills, her pen hovering but unable to move. Her chest tightened as numbers blurred on the page. Lily ran in, holding a doll, her laughter momentarily cutting through the heaviness. Emma forced a smile, whispering, Go play, sweetheart. As Lily disappeared, Emma's mask dropped, tears welling until she couldn't hold them back. She whispered, I can't do this anymore, her voice rawed. Memories of Daniel's smirk echoed in her mind, each word he had spoken like venom. She slammed her fist onto the table, shaking the fragile pile of papers. The silence afterward was suffocating, broken only by the storm outside. Emma's strength cracked, the weight of everything pressing down until she felt she might shatter. Yet deep in her chest, a flicker of defiance still burned, even if hidden under despair. Later that day, Emma rushed from work to pick Lily up from school, only to see Daniel waiting near the gates. His presence froze her mid-step, rage and fear colliding in her chest. Lily spotted him, running forward with innocence shining in her eyes. Daddy, she cried, her voice echoing. Emma sprinted, grabbing Lily's hand before Daniel could. Daniel's voice cut sharp. You can't keep her from me, Emma. Emma's grip tightened, her words trembling. Not like this. Not here. Parents stared, whispers filling the air. Daniel smirked, his calm cruelty digging deeper than his words. The court will decide, not you. Emma pulled Lily close, walking fast toward the car, every muscle taut with fury and dread. Lily clutched Emma's arm, confused. Emma's voice cracked as she whispered, I won't let him take you. The crowd blurred, but Daniel's shadow followed like a storm cloud that refused to break. That night, Emma sat on the bathroom floor, cold tiles pressing into her skin. Her reflection in the cracked mirror revealed a woman she barely recognized. Her hands shook as she whispered, I'm losing everything. She buried her face in her palms, muffling sobs that threatened to wake Lily. The sound of rain against the window was relentless, each drop a reminder of the storm inside her. Sarah's words rang in her ears. Don't let him break you. But right now she felt broken. She thought of the authority figure's visit, of Daniel's threats, of her boss's warnings, all converging into unbearable weight. She whispered, I can't fight them all. Yet even in despair, images of Lily's smile flickered in her mind, pulling her back from the edge. She pressed her forehead to the cool tile, whispering again, I have to keep going. The words sounded fragile, but they were all she had left. The following day, Emma walked into the courthouse clutching documents, her nerves fraying with every step. The authority figure greeted her with cool professionalism, handing over forms. The custody hearing is scheduled, she said flatly. Emma's heart dropped, her breath catching. Daniel walked in moments later, his smirk unwavering. He leaned close, whispering, This won't end well for you. Emma's body stiffened, her voice steady despite shaking hands. I'm not afraid of you anymore. The lie nearly choked her, but she forced it out. The authority figure watched silently, noting every detail. Emma sat down, folding her hands tightly, as though clinging to her last shred of composure. Lily's laughter at school replayed in her mind, a reminder of what she was fighting for. The courthouse walls felt suffocating, yet Emma knew this was only the beginning of the war that would define their future. That night, back home, Emma stood by Lily's bed, brushing curls from her forehead. Lily whispered, Mommy, don't be sad. Emma's throat tightened, but she smiled softly. I'm okay, baby. Sleep now. As Lily drifted off, Emma lingered, staring at her daughter's peaceful face. She walked to the living room, sinking into the couch, exhaustion flooding her veins. The cracked family photo glared from the table, and Emma picked it up, tracing the broken glass over Daniel's face. Her hand trembled, but her eyes hardened. She whispered, You won't win. For the first time in days, her voice carried more steel than despair. She placed the photo face down, choosing not to let its shadow rule her. The apartment was quiet, except for the soft hum of the refrigerator, but inside Emma, something stirred. Broken, yes, but not defeated. The fight was only beginning, and Emma was ready. The knock on the door startled Emma, late evening shadows stretching across the apartment. She opened it to find an older woman, her Aunt Margaret, someone she hadn't seen in years. Emma froze, whispering, Why are you here? Margaret's eyes softened. I heard what's happening. You don't have to fight alone anymore. Emma's chest tightened, torn between suspicion and longing. She remembered years of silence, wounds from abandonment. Lily peeked around her mother's legs, whispering, Who is she? Emma answered softly, This is your aunt. The word tasted strange. Margaret stepped closer, hands trembling, her voice breaking. I should have been here before. Let me help you now. Emma hesitated, every instinct screaming caution, but deep inside, she wanted to believe this was real. They sat at the kitchen table, tension heavy between them. Margaret clasped her hands, staring at Emma with regret etched deep. I know I wasn't there when you needed me, but I can be here now. Emma's jaw tightened, her voice sharp. Why should I trust you? Margaret's eyes glistened. Because I see myself in you. I made mistakes, and I won't let you repeat mine. Emma's breath caught, torn between anger and relief. She looked at Lily, coloring quietly at the table, blissfully unaware of the storm. Emma whispered, She's all I have. If I lose her, I lose everything. Margaret leaned forward. Then let me stand beside you. You're stronger than you know, but even strong people need someone to lean on. The next day, Emma met a new face at Lily's school, a kind teacher named Michael Hayes. He was warm-eyed, early 40s, his smile easy yet cautious. As Lily ran ahead, Michael said, She's a bright kid. You've raised her well. Emma blushed, unused to kindness that wasn't laced with judgment. She replied quietly, I'm just trying my best. Michael tilted his head, studying her with sincerity. It shows. Emma felt a flicker of something unfamiliar. Hope, maybe even attraction. But her chest tightened, remembering betrayal. Trust was dangerous. Still, his presence was grounding, a reminder that not all connections were poisoned. As Lily tugged her hand, Emma smiled faintly, whispering, "Come on, baby." For a moment, the world felt lighter. That evening, Emma sat with Margaret in the living room, while Lily played nearby. Margaret shared stories of Emma's childhood, things Emma had buried under years of pain. Emma listened, guarded but curious. Margaret's voice wavered. "I was lost back then, Emma. I thought distance would protect you, but I was wrong." Emma's throat tightened, whispering, "I needed you." Margaret reached across, gripping her hand. "I can't change the past, but I can help you now." Emma's eyes burned, tears threatening, but she refused to break. She pulled her hand back slowly, whispering, "Well, see?" In the corner, Lily giggled at her toys, the sound a reminder of what truly mattered. Emma glanced at her daughter, realizing that every broken bond had shaped her fight for today. Later that night, alone on the balcony, Emma leaned against the railing, city lights glowing in the distance. The wind carried the scent of rain, cool against her skin. She thought of Michael's kindness, Margaret's sudden return, Sarah's betrayal, and Daniel's looming threats. Her chest ached with exhaustion, yet something inside shifted. For the first time in weeks, she felt the possibility of not being entirely alone. She whispered into the night, "Maybe I can do this." The words floated fragile, but real. Behind her, Lily's laughter drifted from the apartment, reminding her of the reason she endured. Emma gripped the railing, her eyes narrowing with determination. Broken pieces still surrounded her, but perhaps they could be rebuilt into something stronger. The courthouse air was heavy, every footstep echoing as Emma entered, clutching her file of documents. Her palms sweated, but her spine was straight. Margaret squeezed her shoulder gently, whispering, "You're not alone." Michael offered a reassuring nod from the benches. Daniel sat across the room with his lawyer, his smirk cutting deep. The judge entered, and silence fell like a weight. Emma's heart pounded, every beat louder than the last. She whispered under her breath, "For Lily." Her eyes fell on her daughter, seated quietly with a social worker, innocence framed by fear. Emma took a slow breath, summoning strength from every scar. Today was the day she would fight not with rage, but with truth. Daniel's lawyer spoke with sharp precision, painting Emma as unstable and overwhelmed. Each word stung, twisting her sacrifices into flaws. Emma's jaw tightened, but she stayed silent, gripping the edge of the table. Her eyes darted toward Lily, whose small hands clutched her stuffed toy. Daniel leaned back, confidence dripping from his posture. Emma's lawyer whispered, "Stay calm, your turn will come." Every accusation cut deeper, threatening to unravel her composure. She thought of long nights at work, every moment she carried Lily alone, every lie Daniel had spun. She whispered to herself, "He won't take her." As the lawyer finished, Daniel smiled cruelly, believing the battle was his. Emma lifted her chin, determined to prove otherwise. When Emma finally took the stand, her hands trembled, but her voice steadied. She spoke of nights working 2 jobs, of Lily's first steps taken in a crowded apartment, of sacrifices unseen. "She is my world," Emma said, her voice breaking. Daniel's lawyer tried to twist her words, but she refused to falter. "I may not be perfect, but I am enough for her." Margaret wiped tears in the gallery, Michael nodded with quiet pride, and Sarah slipped into the back row, guilt heavy in her eyes. Emma noticed her but didn't waver. The judge listened intently, penned still against the paper. For the first time in weeks, Emma felt her voice carried weight. She wasn't begging, she was standing in her truth. As evidence unfolded, Daniel's mask cracked. Financial records showed hidden debts, messages revealed his threats. His lawyer scrambled, but the truth spread like wildfire across the courtroom. Emma sat tall, every shred of doubt fading. Daniel's voice rose in anger, shouting, "She's lying." The judge silenced him sharply, his authority cutting through the chaos. Lily's wide eyes fixed on her father, confusion and fear etched across her face. Emma's chest ached, but she held steady, whispering, "It's almost over." Sarah stood suddenly, asking to testify. The judge allowed it. Her voice quivered as she admitted her betrayal, but she confirmed Daniel's manipulation. The gallery murmured, Daniel's smirk gone. Emma realized she wasn't standing alone anymore. The tide was shifting. The day ended with silence, heavy in the air. The judge adjourned, his final decision yet to come, but Emma knew the truth had finally been heard. She walked out of the courtroom, Margaret steadying her, Michael offering a soft smile. Sarah approached, voice breaking. "I'm sorry, Emma." Emma hesitated, then nodded faintly. "You told the truth. That matters." Outside, the cool evening air wrapped around her. She looked at Lily, who reached up, small hand slipping into hers. Emma knelt, whispering, "No matter what happens, I will never stop fighting for you." Lily's eyes sparkled with trust, melting the cracks in Emma's heart. For the first time, Emma felt not just fear but strength, raw, unshakable, born from love and survival. The judge's voice echoed across the silent courtroom, declaring custody in Emma's favor. Relief flooded her body, though her heart trembled with exhaustion. Daniel sat frozen, his face twisted in disbelief. Emma closed her eyes, whispering, "It's over." Margaret squeezed her hand, Michael smiled softly, and Sarah looked down, humbled by her own choices. Lily clapped her small hands, her innocence cutting through the tension. Emma lifted her daughter into her arms, holding her close. Yet victory felt heavy, the scars of the fight still raw. She whispered in Lily's ear, "We're free now, baby." The words shook, but for the first time they felt true. That evening, the apartment felt different. Emma placed Lily's backpack by the door, breathing in the quiet. No shadows of Daniel lingered here tonight. She sank into the couch, exhaustion rolling over her like a tide. Margaret brewed tea in the kitchen, the scent grounding Emma's restless thoughts. Michael stopped by, handing Lily a small book with a smile. "For bedtime stories," he said gently. Emma's chest tightened, touched by his quiet kindness. She whispered, "Thank you." Lily curled beside her mother, clutching the book. The warmth of family, fragile but real, filled the air. Emma realized that freedom was not about courts or battles. It was about moments like this, stitched together by love. Later, Emma stepped outside onto the balcony, the cool night air brushing her face. City lights shimmered, a quiet reminder of life moving forward. She gripped the railing, remembering every tear, every night she thought she wouldn't survive. Margaret's reappearance, Sarah's redemption, Michael's kindness, all swirled together in her mind. She whispered to the night, "I thought I was broken, but I'm still here." The scars remained, but they no longer defined her. Behind her, Lily's laughter floated from the apartment, a melody of hope. Emma's lips curved into the first real smile she had felt in years. She realized strength wasn't about never breaking. It was about rising again. Inside, Margaret tucked Lily into bed while Emma watched from the doorway. The older woman brushed curls from Lily's forehead with trembling hands, whispering, "You're safe now, sweetheart." Emma's eyes burned with gratitude she couldn't yet say aloud. As Margaret left the room, she touched Emma's arm softly. "You're stronger than I ever was." Emma shook her head gently. "No, I just had no choice." Margaret smiled faintly, leaving Emma alone by the bed. She leaned down, kissing Lily's forehead, whispering, "Sleep well, my love. Tomorrow will be brighter." For once, Emma believed her own words. She lingered in the doorway, the quiet hum of safety filling her chest. The apartment was silent, except for the steady rhythm of Lily's breathing. Emma stood at her daughter's door, her hand resting gently on the frame. She looked out the window at the quiet city below, the world no longer threatening but filled with fragile possibility. She sat beside Lily, brushing a curl from her cheek, a smile breaking across her face. Real, unmasked. She whispered softly, "We're stronger now, and we'll never stop fighting." The words felt like a vow to herself as much as to her daughter. In that quiet moment, Emma realized freedom wasn't just won in court. It was in this peace, in the promise of tomorrow, and in the unbreakable bond between mother and child.